Good morning. This is your Cherry Peak Ski Report for Saturday, April 15th, 2023. Live from the Snowcat, and yes, it's closing day. Today's operational hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is day skiing only. We'll be operating Gateway Triple Chairlift and Vista Triple Chairlift. We'll also be operating the Summit. The Magic Carpet will be turning also. That will service tubing and the Bunny Hill. Be sure to complete your digital waiver before arrival for all tubing tickets. Well, it looks like today's going to be a Bluebird Day, and it's our annual Cherry Peak Jam. We've got a pond skim for you, almost 100 feet long. Come skim the Caribbean blue water at the peak. Also, annual passes go on sale right now. They are on sale, and they will expire tonight at midnight. The prices will go up. Go to skicpr.com for any further information and details. We'll catch you at the peak.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning as we're enjoying a little bit of sunshine, and we're going to be getting a lot of sunshine this weekend.
It actually feels like spring for like the first time this year.
Yeah.
This
and
week.
of course, then next week it's going to jump back to
Get
winter.
a little bit cold again, yeah, but
Hey,
it's not going to melt. I mean, it's going to melt off if we get some more snow, we get some rain. It's gonna melt. So.
You know, after the storm we had this week, everyone I talked to just said, "I'm done shoveling.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Mother Nature
let
do
go.
it from now on."
So Thursday we got 2 or 3 inches, and it was melted off by the afternoon. So that's what we can anticipate from here out. And I actually was able to get out and put my humate and my lawn fertilizer on my lawn before that storm. So timing was was really good. Yeah. So like Wednesday, the last little tiny bits of snow melted off my lawn. So it's like I went fertilize.
We're going to do it.
Yep. Got out there and fertilized. So, but it's looking gorgeous out there today. And we got a couple really nice days coming.
Yeah.
Looks like tomorrow and Monday we're in the 60s. So got my fingers crossed I can get the garden tilled, or at least get something planted.
I'm going to start it.
Monday. So Monday's the day.
A lot going on this week as we look forward to the Spring Open House.
Spring Open House, yeah. We're calling it the Spring/Winter Open House at Anderson's this year.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. The Spring Open House is this weekend, and we really kind of kick it off on Thursday. So the 20th through the 22nd is our Spring Open House. We'll have a lot of great specials going on. And, of course, we still have bare root plants available. So we've got a great selection of fruit trees. We've got strawberries. We've got, you name it, onion plants and potatoes and asparagus, and we've got currants and blueberries, and we just got some more grapes in yesterday as well too. So a little bit of everything. The only thing we have struggled to get this year is raspberries, and that's because they're still under snow. So so the raspberries have been a little slow coming in, but we'll get those eventually here. I got my fingers crossed that we'll have those here soon. So open house this week at Anderson Seed and Garden. We'll have some really great specials going on. There's a flyer going out in the mail that you should get early this week. That kind of gives you a preview of what's going on. So we've got some fun things planned for this weekend. Try and get everybody excited about being outside and doing some planting. And it's not too late to plant. And to be honest, gardening has not been canceled this year.
Yeah, and you can even still get some of ththose early crops that normally we would put in February.
Absolutely. So I got people coming in, they're like, I don't know if I can still do my peas or not. And it's like, all right, look, if we've done this before in the past, so this is from personal experience. If you plant your peas on the 5th of March and you plant another crop on the 5th of April, and then you plant another crop on the 5th of May. So the same variety of peas planted,
Every
2 months apart. They'll all produce the second week of July. That's just kind of how it works. And so it's not too late to do spinach or lettuce or peas or cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. Don't worry about that a bit. The soil will be warmer. They'll come up faster. They'll mature a lot quicker. But we just don't want it to go 100 degrees the second week of June. That's really hard on the cold crops. So, the way the season's gone so far, we'll probably have just kind of a gradual warm up, and that would be great because we can get some nice warm days, get some of that low level snow melted out of the mountains, and then have it kind of cool down a little bit, kind of slow the water down, and then warm up again. And so hopefully we'll just kind of stay in that cycle for the next month or 6 weeks or so.
And as much as we hate to look ahead to next week and say, it's going to be storming again, but that's really what we want.
Yeah, we want
with a little cooler weather.
Yep,
some 60s this weekend, so we can enjoy it, get outside. I know around our house we're looking at doing some pruning this weekend, and then next week we'll have some storms coming in again.
Yep, absolutely. So not only is it our open house this week, but next weekend on the 29th is our planting event. So this is the first time in 3 years we've done our planting event. We've got it set up a little bit different this year where you need to sign up for a specific time to come in. So we're trying to regulate the crowds a little bit because we know how busy it's going to be when the sun finally comes out. It's going to be kind of crazy. And so we're trying to do sign-ups. So there's a lot of spots available. We'll sign you up for about a 20-minute to a 30-minute period of time where we can get your stuff planted. But what you want to do is you want to come in early. You want to come in at least a half an hour beforehand so you can pick out your plants, get your pots, organized and ready to go. And then when it's your turn to be planted, you'll have all your product ready to go. You pop in, we'll plant it all up. We'll load it up for you in your car and send you on your way. And our soil that we provide is complimentary, so we'll provide complimentary soil. We do charge for a little extra fertilizer, which we recommend. We do charge for a little bit of bark down in the bottom of your pot, which we do recommend.
Good idea.
Yeah, you really need that good drainage, but the potting soil itself is free. The labor is free to pot those up. You just got to buy the plants that you want, and I'll have some helpers there to help you kind of design and figure things out as well too. But then when your time comes up, like say you've got an appointment at 11 o'clock, you want to come in at 10:30, figure out your plants, get those all gathered up. Yeah, and then at 11 o'clock you go and your spot's ready, and then we'll pot it up and out the door and away you go. So so you want to come in early, and you definitely want to sign up early if you have specific times that you'd like to come in, because we're going to be obviously limited on how many people we can accommodate all at once.
All right.
Yeah. So spring planting event, 29th of April. That's coming up. Right now we've got primrose and pansies on sale. All our bare root plants are in. Really, we haven't run out of hardly anything on bare root plants because people just haven't been able to plant. And so many things we can talk about on the show today, whether it's all the new trees and shrubs that are coming in, or pruning and dormant spray. It's a great time to do an insect drench and fertilize your trees. Great time to plant your early crops, and definitely want to get out there and get your fertilizer on, your humic, pre-emergent. Try and get things done like that out in the yard while the weather's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
Just perfect weather for this weekend.
This is the weekend we've been waiting for. And then, Will, you got to come in this week. I know you're coming for the open house, but we put a brand new countertop in at the store, at the seed counter.
At the seed counter,
yeah.
Really?
Do you know how old that countertop was?
Older than you.
I don't remember when it was installed.
Wow.
Yeah, so it had to be really early 70s that countertop was installed. I've been talking to my siblings, and my sister has confirmed. My brother thought that we had maybe redone it, years after, but I can't remember. It's been so long. That countertop's just been there as long as I can remember, and we just put in a new butcher block hickory countertop. Yeah, a little bit bigger, and it's absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't seen it on Instagram or on Facebook, we've been kind of promoting it on social media. You just got to come in and take a look. It looks amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the last finishing probably tonight. So we got the first coat on, and then we thought we better work for a couple days, and then this weekend we'll just do like a real fine sand, and then do another coat on it. But it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah.
Great time to get in and enjoy the spring weather.
Yep,
Head into the store, grab your fertilizer, grab your bare root, primrose, pansies, everything on sale.
And we've got a little bit more space at the seed counter to accommodate more people, so it's a little bit longer, and it's definitely a foot wider. And it's stunning. It's hickory. It weighed about 600 pounds, so it took about 10 of us to move it. And it's impressive. I don't think there's another butcher block in the valley that's as big.
Well, and you can make sure that it's going to be here for another 100 years. That's 100 years from now, people will be like, I can't remember when we put the last one in.
Well, I'm actually going to remember, because 23 is going to be remembered as like the worst winter ever. So we'll keep track of it that way. Say, I remember back in 49 when we got snowed in. And
should take a wood burner and maybe burn the date underneath it or something like that.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, we're taking your calls too this morning for gardening questions, lawn and fertilizing, whatever you have this morning that you want to talk about here on the Garden Show. And we're going to get out to the phones to start things off early. We have Ron joining us on the line from Preston. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Mark. You mentioned dormant spray, so review for me and whoever's listening the best practice and when is it too late and so forth.
Excellent. So I like to prune my trees first, but you can absolutely do it before you prune, so it doesn't really matter. We like daytime temperatures, obviously above freezing, but in the 40s and 50s would be sensational. Warmer is fine. And nighttime temperatures just right around freezing or a little bit warmer is more than adequate. And a dormant spray will control insects that have wintered over from last year. And usually the dormant spray or a horticultural oil is what we're shooting for. And what it does is it suffocates any insects or insect eggs that have wintered over from last year. And it works really well on aphids, works well on mites, it works well on San Jose scale, it works well on quite a few very small soft-bodied insects that have wintered over from last year, and usually contains a petroleum or a paraffinic or a mineral oil. Very non-toxic, very, very safe to use around other plants, not just on the trees. So if it gets on your lawn or other plants that are coming up, really won't bother those at all. And then what I like to do is I like to mix disease control in with it. So either copper soap, a copper-based fungicide works great. It's a natural antibacterial, antifungal control, or one of the new controls like the complete disease control from Monterey, or fungicide 5 from Fertilome. Those are natural fungicides. You can mix that in with your dormant spray, and it's going to control not just the insects, but it's going to control diseases that have wintered over from last year as well too. So powdery mildew and peach leaf curl, and it really could help a little bit with fire blight and a lot of other diseases as well. So after you're done pruning, mix those two together in your water, or if you use a hose end sprayer, and then just spray the tree just to the point of slight runoff. So just like a little bit of dripping off the tips of the branches would be perfect. You want to do the twigs and the branches and even the trunk as well too. You can just coat the whole tree with that, and it will give you a good, clean, fresh start for the season.
Wonderful. And when is it too late to do dormant sprays as far as spring? I guess it can also be applied in the fall.
It can. And we recommend a fall application if you've been dealing with certain diseases for sure, because it will help those from carrying over till the next year. And it's great for blister mites on pears and apples, and it really, really helps immensely with bacterial bud blight on the stone fruits, doing that fall application as well too. But we can do that dormant spray right up until the buds really open up. So a lot of times we'll recommend a delayed dormant spray if you've had blister mite problems on the apples and the pears, and that's you wait for the buds to start cracking open and they just start kind of bursting a little bit, but they haven't opened up yet, because the dormant spray could damage your blossoms if your blossoms are open. So you want to do it right up to when the bloom period starts.
Well, great. I think that takes care of me. Thanks so much.
You are so welcome, Ron. Thanks for calling in. Great question. You have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
That opens up the phone line, 753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. If you have a question for Mark, talking about great time to start spraying and fertilizing. And, we've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, good time to get some pruning done as well.
Yeah, we got our pruning done a couple weeks ago in our orchard, and so we're excited about that. Did all the apples and pears, and then all of our stone fruits, so cherries and peaches and nectarines and apricots. We've got a little bit of everything in Dad's orchard, and so we got out there and did some pruning. And our crews are pruning like crazy right now, and we would love to take more jobs on, but I think at this point in the season where we're just so far behind getting some of our other projects done, because we still have people that have snow in their yards, that we probably won't be taking too many more pruning jobs at Logan Extermination. So Logan Extermination, our crews have been out pruning for a month, and we're just about to that point where we've got to start fertilizing lawns. We've got to start fertilizing trees.
On.
We got to do all this other stuff, and so if you are wishing that we could come and do it for you, I apologize in advance. We're just going to have to shift gears and just get rolling, because it's the 15th of April. And we haven't fertilized a single yard in Cache Valley. So we've been doing Tremont and Brigham City and, all those others. And we just have a lot of work to do. And insects, box elder bugs are popping up like crazy. Actually, I've had quite a few people in the store the last few days that have had box elder bugs. And so definitely an early outbreak of the box elder bugs. And if we have a really nice warm weekend with some 60-degree temperatures, we're going to have more box elder bugs popping up as well too. So, but this is a prime time to do some tree implants if you're trying to do some tree treats to help strengthen, fertilize, improve some trees that have been a little bit struggling or weakened over the years. A great way to fertilize those larger trees. But it's a perfect time to do your insect drench. So this is the time of year before the leaves come out to get that insect drench on to control aphids, borers, leaf miners, spruce gall. There's a lot of different insects that attack trees consistently every single year. Aphids on maples or lindens we see all the time, and we see leaf miners in birch all the time. And so you can do an insect drench right now with Fertilome's tree and shrub insect drench, and it will last the entire season. So you mix it up in a watering can or a 5-gallon bucket. It's super easy. All you really need is a 5-gallon bucket, the product, a measuring cup, and maybe a tape measure, and you just measure the circumference of the tree about 12 to 14 inches off the ground. For every inch of distance around the tree, you put 1 ounce of the product in the bucket. So if you measure it, it's 18 inches around. You put 18 ounces in the bucket, fill it up with water, stir it up really good, and then just water the tree with it. Just within 2 to 3 feet of the trunk, just saturate the soil evenly all the way around the tree with that, and it will absorb that insecticide up, run it through the entire tree, and anybody who comes and attacks the tree during the summer, it will control them as they start to nibble on the tree or they suck sap out of the leaves or however that works. And so a great way to prevent. It's really inexpensive and so easy to do. It's one of the best options that home gardeners have for controlling major insect infestations on large trees.
It's good drenching.
Oh, yeah. You can do it on shrubs, too. It works on roses. Doesn't last as long on the roses because they grow so fast. You'll really only get about 2 months of control on the roses. But for a woody tree or a shrub, it'll last for 8 months, which is just unbelievable. You put it on in April, you're good till October.
Great.
Yeah, it's the way to go. We've got some phone calls.
We do.
Yeah.
We're going to keep you busy for a while,
Cool.
Mark. We're going to start off with Charles, who's joining us on the line. Charles, thanks for holding. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Well, thank you. I have a lawn I don't want. I want to get rid of my bluegrass. I want to totally purge it out and maybe put in the Mark's mix, like what we were talking about at the show.
Absolutely.
Right now, is that a good time to chemically kill everything before as it's trying to start? Would I use Roundup? What would I use to kill the lawn? And then you wait for a certain length of time or whatever product, if you know of a product, that you wait and then plant it. Am I wise to just kill everything now and and put in the new grass right now?
It's a little bit cold still. Usually when we start to see leaves popping out on the trees, that is an indicator that the soil has warmed up enough that your grass seed's going to germinate quicker. And the warmer the soil gets, the faster it comes up. So we have done this ourselves, and really July, August is like the fastest turnaround. If you want a shorter turnaround time, July and August is the best time to do it. And you can spray, and then I usually wait a couple days and then spray again, and then a couple days after that, it's like completely dead. And you can use Roundup, you can use Killzall, you could use Decimate. There's a bunch of different options that you could use, so it just depends on which product you would like to use. I personally like the Decimate. It kills broadleaf weeds.
Pardon?
It's called Decimate, and it is a different material than Roundup, but it works on the same principles. It's a completely different chemical, so if you have concerns about Roundup, the Decimate's very different. Biodegrades within 24 hours out of the soil, but it's super effective on a lot of hard-to-kill broadleaf weeds as well as grasses, and it works quicker. And so you'll see results. You'll see results a little bit faster. So what we did is we sprayed. We waited a couple days, sprayed again. By the end of the week, it was completely dead. I mowed it right down to the ground, just like dropped my mower as low as I possibly could, scalped it, and then I brought just a little bit of topsoil in and just groomed it right over the top of the dead grass. And I was able to fix the low spots and the high spots and just kind of regrade the turf a little bit. And then we seeded right over the top of that. So 7 days after we did the first spray, we were planting. And 5 days after we planted, we had new grass coming up. And so we did this around the 10th of July, and within 2 weeks of killing it, we had new grass coming back. And by Labor Day, we've mowed it. We had mowed it multiple times, and by late fall, it didn't look like we'd even ever killed the grass. And this is the way that I think that we can be most productive in at least Cache Valley, but all throughout the state. You know, if we really want to be conservative on water and not use as much water, but still have a beautiful turf, which does a lot of really great things for our environment. It cools things down. It absorbs and collects water. It keeps water from running off. It really traps a lot of dust, and it has some really great purposes to have turf. If you switch to the Marks mix, you'll be able to water 50% or less and keep your lawn as green as it has been. So anytime after those leaves start popping out, Charles, you'd be good to go. If you do it this spring, though, it's just going to take longer. It's going to take 3 or 4 weeks for that turnaround instead of the 2 if you do it in the middle of summer. Okay.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Good luck with your project. All right.
Definitely time to start looking at the lawn.
It is. You know, and I'm on the Cache Water District Board, and we've been discussing this. It's like it's really great if homeowners want to flip their strip and they want to take their park strip out and put very drought tolerant plants in instead, but they still need to be watered.
Yeah.
So you need a water system, but it's expensive. If you want to like completely revamp your landscape, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars, and to redo your turf. I mean, if Charles kills his 7,000 square foot turf and we just redo it with grass seed, I'll bet we can do it for $300 or $400.
So much cheaper.
Yeah, it's so much less expensive, and in the long run, that turf is really doing a lot of very good things for our environment. And then we're going to be using a third, 30 to 40 to 50% less water than what we were using previously to keep that turf green and gorgeous and looking nice.
Well, and we've talked about it, too, around our house. I mean, 15 years we've been in our home.
Yeah.
The turf's wearing out.
Yeah. Oh, it's really nice to introduce new varieties of grass in there because not only is the Marks mix drought tolerant, but it's resistant to insects and diseases as well, too. So if you've been treating your turf for years because you've had insects consistently attacking your turf, if we introduce perennial ryegrass into your lawn, you don't even have to kill your existing lawn. We just start introducing that for a couple of years into your turf. All of a sudden, it's going to be 50-50, and insects won't eat the turf-type ryegrass. And so you just completely get rid of having to put an insecticide on your lawn every year. So
great way to go.
It is. It really is.
All right, well, let's go back out to the phone lines. We have Kim joining us on the line. Kim, thanks for holding.
Hi. I have a problem with deer in my yard.
Me too.
I'm about ready to dig up all of my tulips and just throw them out because I keep feeding all the deer. But our snowbanks are finally starting to expose our tulips,
yes.
and they're starting to grow, and the deer come along and munch them all the way down.
Yep, not very nice.
Should I mean, I can't do anything about it for this year, right?
Well, you actually can. Even though they may have trimmed some of the early leaves, as long as they haven't eaten the flower bud, you're still going to get flowers. And so if we can protect them now, you could still get flowers. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. So what my parents did for many years is they would cover the tulips as they were coming up with a netting. And some of the netting we've got for deer is very lightweight, so it won't like press the leaves of the plants down. It won't really affect the flowers, but it's small enough that the deer can't nibble through it.
Okay.
And so you could lay that over the top. They really hate metal, and so chicken wire works great as well too. So we kind of took a 4 or 6 foot wide piece of chicken wire, cut it in the right length, and just kind of formed it so it wouldn't like smash the tulips down, but it would absolutely keep the deer out of the flower beds. And so that worked really well. And then I've got some repellents that we've had very good results with. The deer stopper has been excellent. That's something you can apply even in cold temperatures. We've done that in freezing temperatures without any problem. But you want to do it weekly because the tulips, as they grow, the new growth will be unprotected. But the growth that you spray is protected. And they'll nibble a little bit still, but once they taste it, they realize it doesn't taste as good as it normally does, and they move on and go eat your neighbors instead. So
once if they have chewed it and gone all the way down, and when can I move those to a different location? Do I have to wait till spring is done to move the tulip bulbs, or can I move them when they're chomped down?
It's better to wait until they would normally be done blooming, and that's usually in May or early June. Right about the time when I'm starting to plant my annuals. That's when I usually dig my tulips up and kind of store them for the winter, or for the summer, sorry, and then replant them in the fall.
Okay.
And so that would work great, Kim.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm just kind of tired of feeding the deer.
I know. We've just kind of transitioned to just doing daffodils.
That's what I'm thinking
at our house, and they're gorgeous, and we enjoy those a lot. And the deer even ate my hyacinths this year, and they usually don't eat the hyacinths.
Oh, they were really hungry.
Yeah, so they have eaten the hyacinths, but they haven't touched the daffodils. So. Yeah.
Okay,
all right,
that's good to know.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
But I guess Kim could at least be grateful that she's not dealing with an elk problem, because there are some
there's
residents that are dealing with elk.
Yep, there's some herds running around. So, yep,
all right,
absolutely.
Well, let's stay on the phone lines. We have Christine joining us on the line from Smithfield. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
First of all, I want to thank you for the amaryllis. My grandma used to give them to me all the time when she was alive, and it's been kind of fun. It reminds me of her. But first of all, I want to thank you for the amaryllis.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And then I was wondering, and you probably tell me the same thing. I have some flowers on the south side of my house, and one patch of the flowers, the grass likes to come up. And I have peonies and a rose there. And I noticed the grass is taller than the peonies. I can see the peonies coming up, but the grass. And I want to use that, whatever it's called, that kills the grass, but is it still too cold to use it?
As long as the grass is green and actively growing, it will work in even cooler temperatures. So it will work in temperatures as low as 40-degree temperatures during the day. As from here on out, we should be warm enough for that to really work well for you. The grass killer or the over the top from Fertilome, they take a little bit of time, so you got to be patient with them. But I will always recommend you mix it with a surfactant. So you want to mix a spreader sticker or a surfactant of some sort in with it, and then spray weekly for 2 to 3 weeks. So spray, wait a week, spray again, wait a week, hit it one more time, and then usually a week after that second spray, or the third spray, it will be turning yellow. And once it really starts to yellow, it'll be dead, and you can just pull it out really easy. It has no root system left to it. But it does take usually 3 weeks for it to do its job. It takes a while for it to get down in and kill that root system out.
Okay.
So.
I've stored my stuff in my shed.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still going to work?
The over the top is pretty resilient for cold temperatures. Most of the herbicides that you really have to worry about are like your broadleaf weed killers. If it's got 2,4-D in it, if it freezes, it will separate and then it doesn't work very well. We've stored Roundup and kills all outside in the shed, and it's gotten 30 below, and it doesn't freeze, and so it's much more resilient that way. You can double check the label, and the label will tell you, keep this in a spot where it's not going to freeze, and those are the ones you got to watch out for.
So maybe my problem is I'm not consistent.
You got to be consistent. You got to use that. Everybody, wishful thinking that we're going to do that once a week for 3 weeks. But if you can be consistent with it, and you can make sure and use the surfactant with it, those are the two key factors that we found that make it less effective if you're not doing that. So
that surfactant is called something, right?
So I
think I have some in the shed.
Yeah, so there's spreader sticker. There is
I think that's what I have.
herbicide helper works great too. That one's really good. And I love the Nano Boost, but the Nano Boost is kind of expensive. But a quart bottle runs about $50, so it's a little pricey. Woo! But it makes 800 gallons, so it goes a long way. Yeah.
Will it last over the winter?
Oh, for years. I'll take a bottle home and I'll keep it for 4 or 5 years before I actually use it. But that is the best, the absolute best surfactant I've ever used. It's amazing.
Maybe I'll come in and talk to you about that.
Yeah,
but I'll have to see. I think I have Kills-All, but that will kill everything or just the grass?
The Kills-All would kill the grass and any other plants that you sprayed with it.
My flowers.
Yeah, you got to be really careful. Yeah, if you're very careful and you only spray the weeds that you're trying to kill, you can be very selective, very surgical with it. But if you do a broadcast spray, it's going to kill everything you spray it on. So.
Oh, yeah. And I listened to you talk about the guy with the lawn, and I need to come in. I think I have some marks.
Yeah.
And I've got grass. I've been here 30-plus years. And we planted some of the newer grass, and my son will mow the lawn, and he said, Mom, you can tell the difference.
You can see, right? Yeah.
It's soft.
Oh, yeah. It's the newer grasses are just so much more resilient, and they're greener, and they're softer, and it's probably time to do
that.
It really didn't take.
I was thinking
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say.
I was just saying, your turn.
Sorry, Christine. It didn't take that much work to do that section in our yard. We did about 2,000 square feet, and it took me really an afternoon to prep it and to seed it and to fertilize it, and then we just reset the sprinklers to just do their thing, and we had that grass up in 5 days. So it was not a very labor intensive. It took 10 or 15 minutes to spray it twice. And then, an afternoon for me to spread soil out there after we mowed it down really short and seeded it and stuff. It was not a labor-intensive job. So,
well, I thought I would start with one on the east side of my house and do that and kill that.
Yeah, you don't have to do the whole. You don't have to do the whole lawn at the same time. You can break it up into pieces. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to write me some cute notes because in July it's too hot and who wants to be outside?
It's so nice. It's like nice afternoon project. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I'll have to write myself a note. Okay. Well, I'll have to come in and visit you for that other thing that you called. But I appreciate you doing this. I've learned so much.
Oh,
to help me to be a better gardener.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Christine.
And I appreciate. Yeah. You guys have a great day.
All right. We will. You too. You too.
Enjoy a little of the sunshine. As we're a little behind the clock, but that's okay. We've got Donnie, who's holding on the line from Brigham City. We're going to get to his call immediately following the news break, and we'll be right back on the Garden Guide here on KVNU. With your KVNU News update this weekend, I'm Will Feelright. It's brought to you by the Duck Hunter. Well, over 30% of Utah adults are not getting enough sleep at night. Utah ranks 16th among states for insufficient sleep, according to the latest America's Health Rankings report. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that lack of sleep is linked to the development of chronic diseases and conditions, including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and depression. Now, while Utah's sleep ranking has improved slightly over recent years, Chief Medical Officer for United Healthcare, Dr. Ravi Johar, says consistency is key to getting better sleep.
That's something that's really important. Just having a routine, whether it's, brushing your teeth, changing into pajamas, doing some kind of activity before you go to sleep, yoga, listening to music, reading, setting your alarm for the same time every day.
Now, Johar says that adults between the age of 18 and 60 need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, while people in their early 60s need just a bit less. And long-awaited spring weather is sure to inspire many to don gloves and grab a shovel and tackle some serious outdoor projects this weekend. However, Rocky Mountain Power is urging customers to take one important safety step before hitting the dirt. That's dialing 811 before doing any digging. Jeremy Gee, Rocky Mountain Power's managing director of safety, said that installing a fence or planting a tree are among the many commonplace projects that should trigger a call to 811. Those may seem like simple, harmless projects, but hazards are very real, and hitting underground electric lines can, in some cases, be fatal. The Call Before You Dig line is a national toll-free number that puts customers in touch with locating services that alert local underground facility owners so that they can mark the approximate locations of those underground utility lines. Well, looking at beautiful weather through the weekend as we're enjoying clear skies to continue. Will Feelright, KVNU News.
From ABC Sports, I'm Brian Clark. The NBA play-in tournament wrapped up Friday with 4 teams bidding for the final playoff spot, but only 2 could get in. Starting in Miami, it was the Heat and Bulls going down to the wire, but Jimmy Butler and Max Strus helped Miami pull away.
Butler spins block left, step through Levine, scoops, scores, and drew the foul.
From ESPN, 31 points each for Butler and Strus on the night. The Heat move on to face the top-seeded Bucks in the first round on Sunday after the 102-91 win. The Timberwolves and Thunder were vying for the 8th seed in the West, but a combination of home court advantage, solid defense, and Karl Anthony Towns put the game out of reach.
Towns to the basket, right side lay-in. He got it and won.
ESPN Radio on the call as the T-Wolves blew out the Thunder 120-95. They'll visit the Nuggets in Denver to begin their series on Sunday. This is ABC Sport.
The Logan Spring Home Show is back. Join us this weekend, April 14th and 15th at the Cache County Convention Center, Friday from noon to 8 p.m. and Saturday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's free. Save big on all your home improvement projects and take advantage of these exclusive show deals. Come see all things home from bath, roofing, flooring, windows, doors, and more. Get multiple quotes on products and services all in one place and take advantage of our exclusive show savings. The Logan Spring Home Show is happening this Friday through Saturday for free at the Cache County Convention Center. Bring the family and enter to win giveaway prizes from local restaurants when you attend. Whether you need home renovation, home improvement, or you're just looking for some inspiration, the Logan Home Show has something for everyone. Stop by this Friday from noon to 8 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Cache County Event Center. Visit LoganHomeshow.com for more information. It's free. We'll see you there.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the show. Right now, 30 degrees outside the KVNU studio. So, yeah, it's still a little frost in the air.
It looks warmer.
It does.
I look outside and it's just like, oh, it really looks like spring.
You know, there was frost on the windshields this morning as both of us were coming in. Yeah. But, yeah, with the sun shining, we'll still take that little bit of frost.
You know, it's been a while since we've been able to dig a hole and put something in it. Yeah. And I think this weekend we can do it. This weekend.
Ground is really starting to...
It's drying out.
Dry out and soft up.
Yeah, so I'm got my fingers crossed. Maybe Monday I'll be able to till my garden if it really stays dry today and tomorrow, and then maybe Monday night.
There's a few projects that definitely are at the top of the list. And before we talk about some of the things that are going on over the next couple of weeks at Anderson Seed and Garden, let's get right back out to the phone lines. We have phone lines open at 753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. And we'll start off with Donnie from Brigham City, who's joining us on the line. Donnie, thanks so much for holding.
Thank you. Mark, I appreciate you taking my call.
Yes.
Is it too late for me to lay down pre-emergent first? I got some spurge that keeps coming up, but is it too late to put a pre-emergent down?
Great question. Most of the weeds that we are targeting with a pre-emergent, especially like, say, crabgrass and spurge and foxtail and goosegrass and chickweed, they germinate in May. And the soil's been much, much colder this year, as we can tell, because the trees haven't even leafed out yet. And here it is, 15th of April, and we've got like no trees even in Salt Lake that are leafing out, or just barely starting to. Perfect time. Your perfect timing to put your pre-emergent on, because it will be at peak effectiveness when those weed seeds germinate the first part of May. So I would do it this week, right before that next little storm comes in. Get your fertilizer on, do your pre-emergent, and your timing couldn't be any better, Donnie. Great question.
Thank you. And then one quick question. You always told me about pre-emergent. I can't remember the name of it. I'd pick up at your place, but it had dimension in it, I think it's called.
Yep, it's dimension. So the Fertilome crabgrass control with fertilizer, that has the dimension in there. And the dimension is really, really effective on crabgrass because it will kill the crabgrass even after it has germinated, as well as killing the seed. And it lasts about 3 months. So you're going to get a longer residual out of it. So you should get really great control this year, putting it on a little bit later. Yeah, it should be perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Fertilome, crabgrass.
Crabgrass control with fertilizer. It comes in a blue bag, and it comes in a 5,000 and a 10,000 square foot size.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, Donnie.
You do the same. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yep. Bye-bye.
All right, now we have Luis joining us on the line from Smithfield. Thanks so much for holding this morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I have got 4 wisteria plants that are planted in one of those long tin garden boxes.
Gotcha.
And I want to transplant them to my sister's house.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if I can get to it today, but she might not be able to get to it until later in a week or so.
Yeah.
How long can they sit in a container?
If they are completely dormant, which they probably are, you could dig those up today, and if she planted them later next week, that would be no problem at all. You just want to get them planted before the leaves start to come out. And when you dig them up, try and get as much root system as possible without cutting all your roots off. So do your best at getting as large a root ball as possible, and then make sure and
They've
prune.
only been in there like 4 or 5 years.
So not
small.
terrible. Yeah, so not terrible. And then make sure and prune them back about 30 to 40%, because you're going to lose some of those after you get them transplanted to the new location, or even before you dig them up. You can do it either way. But we need to take some of that excess growth off, because we're going to cut the roots, and the more roots you cut, the more it's not going to be able to send water and nutrient to all the growth.
Yeah, it won't support.
It won't. It just won't support all that growth that it put on last year. So make sure and prune it way back. And then when you get it transplanted to its new location, I would water it for the first 3 or 4 waterings when it needs it, not every day, but when it needs it, with Kanga roots or a root stimulator of some sort, and that's really, really going to help a bunch. Yeah, so I'd do it like today if you can. Do it today.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Another question: I have some of those red leaf, I think they're maple trees in my yard.
Sure.
And most of them have that, I don't know, it's greenish, rusty stuff on the trunk and the branches.
Oh.
Is that something that I need to treat?
No. There's a little bit of a it's not really a mold. It's more of a fungus that grows there, but it's not doing damage to the tree. It just likes the location, so it's a little bit moist, and usually it's on the north or the south side, or the north or the east side of the tree where the sun doesn't really hit it, and it's not causing problems to the tree. It's just kind of a normal growth, especially if you're higher humidity in a really shady location. That's kind of where it builds up. Not anything to be concerned about. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
It is a great time to treat your trees for aphids, though. I think we're going to have aphids crazy this year. That's my prophecy for this year. Aphids are going to be bad, so now's a really good time to do that drench to try and prevent them before they start dripping sap all over your yard. So.
My cars.
Yes, exactly.
Toys.
All right.
Okay, I'll be in and get some of that drench stuff then. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Not only aphids, but we're going to have grasshoppers, mosquitoes with all of the water.
Yes. So I got an email this week from the manufacturer of the Nolo bait.
Oh, yeah,
and,
for grasshoppers.
And we've been talking, and they thought they would be able to do it this year, but they are actually having issues with EPA regulations. And I don't think we're going to have Nolo bait at least until mid-June, if even then. So they were hoping to have it rolling again this year, and they've had some setbacks because of EPA regulations with one of the ingredients in there. I mean, it's all natural, but there's something that they're getting a hiccup with. So.
Okay. But we've talked about before, there are some alternatives.
There's some really great alternatives for grasshoppers. So we had really good results with the repellents last year. So we had some excellent results with repellents. And then there's some very, very good insecticides that you can get out there as the grasshoppers are small, in the vacant lot next door, the field out back, and try and get them under control before they get to your yard. That's when it's most effective. So. Yeah, we'll have some good options.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, there's a lot going on over the next couple of weekends at Anderson Seed and Garden.
Yes.
Of course, the spring open house coming up next weekend. The planting event will be the weekend after. But this weekend, all of your bare root, primrose, pansies, everything is finally in stock on sale.
It is. So we've got pansies on sale right now. We've got primrose that we're doing for half price, and they're gorgeous. They've just got tons of color on them. And, of course, all the bare root plants are still in stock. We've got shade trees and flowering trees. Like our full tree inventory is almost here. We've got a truck coming, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll have all of our shade trees in stock now, but all of our flowering trees are in. All of our fruit trees. Well, not all. We've got another shipment coming. I thought it would be here this week, but it didn't show up. So probably first part of next week we'll get the rest of our fruit trees in, and shrubs and evergreens, and everything's just starting to show up right now. And then we've got some tomatoes in stock, believe it or not. Nobody's planted anything, but we still have tomatoes, and in a lot of those early crops, we've got those ready to go as well too. So broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower. I've even got pea starts, and we've got lettuces and kale and all kinds of stuff in the greenhouse right now. And so we're ramping up. We're getting there, and a lot of fun things happening at Anderson's. And of course, next weekend is our spring open house. We always have some great deals, some great specials, and a lot of plants available for our open house. And then the week after, the 29th of April, we have our planting event. And the planting event is you got to sign up this year for a specific time, and we've got some great things organized so we can try and accommodate more people that way instead of having everybody descend on the store all at once. Yeah. So we're trying to spread it out throughout the day, and so we've got appointments on probably 20 or 30-minute intervals where you can sign up for a specific time, and then that way you don't have to wait in line, and it should. Fingers crossed, it should work very nicely. It will kind of like spread people out throughout the entire day, and you won't have to stand around and wait. But you really want to come a half an hour before your time. If you sign up for 11:30, you want to show up at 11, pick out the plants that you want to plant, and then at 11:30, you'll just be able to just pop right into your spot, and we'll plant those up for you. And like I've explained before, potting soil is complimentary, so we'll provide the potting soil. We will provide the labor to plant to plant your planters. You've got to provide you've got to purchase the flowers to go in them, and you can either bring your own planters, and we're limiting it to like 4 or 5 planters. Don't bring 20. Just there's a limit on how many we'll do. Let's be reasonable. So 4 or 5 for a max. And then we will charge a little bit of money, and it's very inexpensive for some bark in the bottom. We'll charge for some fertilizer, which you really need for your plants, but the soil and the labor are complimentary. And then if you want to do other stuff, then we'll make you a good price.
Put it on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. But 29th of April is our spring planting event. If you want to participate, you need to get on to our website and sign up for that. And if you're struggling, I think we've got the sign-ups at the store as well too, so we can get you hooked up and get a spot picked out for you, and away we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're like me and you have put off pruning, Mark, it's not too late.
It is not.
But this is really the weekend to do it.
Yep. So in 2020, when we had the COVID pandemic, we told everybody that gardening was not canceled. And we're doing the same thing this year. Despite the weather, gardening is not canceled.
Well, and you look at a lot of the trees, and they're just barely starting to show some new growth.
Barely. So. I know we went down the first or second week of April last year to Salt Lake to see the jazz play, and the trees had hit full bloom, and they were just starting to drop their blossoms, and it was just like gorgeous. The courtyard there in front of the Vivint Arena was just like in full bloom with like white flowers and pink flowers. It was and tulips were blooming. It was gorgeous. And we went down for like one of their last games just a week ago or so. And there's nothing. There's nothing. There's not a single blossom on any of the trees, and the tulips aren't even blooming. And the tulips are almost always in bloom for conference.
Yeah,
they're almost always blooming for conference, and there's like nothing going on down there. So it's definitely a little slow getting going this year, but early crops, hey, as soon as you can get out there and turn your soil over or rake it or whatever, you can plant all your early crops. So we're talking peas, spinach, lettuce, radishes, onions, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. Those can all go in immediately as soon as you can plant it. And then I'm going to wait just a little bit to plant my carrots and beets and chard and potatoes because the soil's still kind of cold. I mean, if your snow just melted off, your soil is still kind of chilly. We need a little bit warmer soil temperatures for those, but they can handle frost. So if the carrots come up and it freezes, they'll be just fine. If the beets come up and it freezes, they'll be just fine. As long as we don't get into like teens, teen temperatures, and we better not get any more teens.
I don't think we're going down there.
Yeah, we better not get any more teens. But those can handle the cold, but they need warmer soil to germinate. And even this week, I've had a lot of people asking about, when can I plant my tomatoes? Am I going to be planting late? I would definitely put some weed barrier or some black plastic out the end of this month, first part of May, to generate some heat and really warm that soil up, and you'll see a big difference on how early your tomatoes produce.
Start to take off.
Yeah, we need to warm that soil up, and so it would never hurt to get some black plastic or the black weed fabric out there a couple weeks in advance of planting your warm crops, if you're doing peppers or tomatoes or squashes, melons, cucumbers, and really generate some heat in the soil. That's really going to help a lot. And to be honest, I don't think this weather is going to affect the maturity of most of our crops. They're still going to produce about the same time. We just need to get the soil to warm up a little bit. And even those early crops, you plant them a month late, they still produce the first part of July.
Off.
Yeah, they're just going to produce the same time. So I don't worry about that. Soil's going to warm up. Air temperature is going to warm up. Gardens are going to be amazing. We've got so much moisture to work with this year. It's really going to be a great growing season.
Really, and when you look at the fact that we're about a month behind, but for most of us, we were always looking at the end of Memorial Day, thinking, I gotta plant then. But by Memorial Day, we're still going to be.
We
fine.
will have forgotten about the snow.
Yeah.
Until it snows on Flag Day.
It's definitely possible.
It is possible. So
dang, the last minute,
our show's about up.
Yeah,
good grief!
We're almost done.
What happened to all of our time?
And one thing that we want to mention too, is as far as for the next couple of weeks, Look for your mailer that's going out about the spring open house.
Yes, that should be in the mail probably Tuesday of this week. So there'll be there'll be a full 12 by 12 inch flyer, and it will have information about all the stuff we've got on sale. Well, not all the stuff, some of the things that we have on sale. There's going to be other things on sale in the store that we just couldn't get into the ad. And like many of our ads this year, you have to put them together a month or 6 weeks in advance. And we have not really done a great job this year, anticipating the weather.
Well, and no one really knew. Exactly.
So it's like we've been advertising all this stuff, and it's like, all right, nobody can buy that because they can't plant it. But hopefully, everything that's in the ad for the open house, we should be good to go.
Be able to plant.
Yeah, absolutely. We should have amazing hanging baskets, and we'll have strawberries on sale and all kinds of products to use out in your yard, and watering cans are on sale, and I've got a really nice deal on some inexpensive but very nice sprayers. So some great specials coming up for our open house next weekend, which is the 20th through the 22nd. And whether the weather is great or nasty still, we're still going to celebrate spring.
No matter what.
We're celebrating spring this week at Anderson's. Come see our new gorgeous countertop at the seed counter.
Yeah.
Very exciting, and we've got a little bit more to add on to it. But for right now, it's impressive. That's all I can say. You got to come see it.
Yeah.
And